Hi, so I'm not really usually one to do impulse purchases, but I was on Amazon the other day and I saw this robot platform and um, I thought, man, Paul's lessons have slowed down a little bit as far as, new stuff. He's covered a lot of the stuff he's doing over on um, the Raspberry Pi, regular Raspberry Pi and everything. So he I know he has to cover everything for everyone, but I haven't been moved to make videos about what we're doing because it's just repeat of stuff we've done in the past. So anyhow, I decided to have a impulse purchase and buy this. It had a couple of features that I hadn't used before, so I thought it'd be fun to experiment with them. So it's got the mecanum wheels. That's the wheels that if you have your motor spinning in the right directions, it'll actually slide the robot sideways rather than forward or backward or turning. And always interested to see videos on those and thought, well, it'd be fun to have one to play with. It also has the DC gear motors that have encoders on them. And I had never played with encoders before, so I thought that would be a fun thing to do. So um, it turned out to be more of a thing than I expected. So this video is going to be about my uh, starting adventures in motor encoders and uh, show a little bit about how I went about finding out more about them and everything. So of course, these motors are the motors that come with that are 12-volt motors, and I had a couple boards, motor driver boards that were like 1.5 amp, but they said they go up to 12 volts, and so I got one. I put one of them on, wired it up, and started playing with it, and boy, we let out some magic smoke real fast on them. So these, I you get these Chinese kits, so you don't know what the ratings on the motors are, but they must be more than 1.5 amp. Or I think maybe that the motor got uh, stalled, and probably the stall current probably put it over the top and popped the driver. So not only did I spend $100 on the robot, but then I had to go over to Robo Shop and find some real motor driver. So these are 10 amp and they go from 5 to 30 volts, and it's dual channel, but yeah, $23, and you need two of them for this robot. So I ended up spending another $50 on uh, experimenting with motor drivers. I mean, these will probably last a good long while and be plenty strong for what we got here. And I never had a really good motor driver before, so it's kind of interesting to have it. And even if this project doesn't go anywhere, I'll still have them for other projects, and I'll find some use for them. I got the motors; I might as well have something to drive them with. So anyhow, so I was looking online about stuff to how to get them going and what you did to work with the encoders to do that. And turns out it's quite a bit of uh, extra wiring in doing this. Plus, um, uh, you got your code has to be a lot better because you actually get into the PID to so that you can keep your pulses up with your encoder, keep your motor position up with your encoder and everything. So I did find this one lady YouTuber that has just about a dozen videos in the last 3 years, and but they're very good videos, and there's three of them about driving encoder motors and PID, and also one for using multiple motors, driving multiple motors at the same time. So that's the one I used was that one there. So this is the video, and she just has a, that arrow on the motor. So I said, oh, I'll do the same thing on mine. So that's what I did. But she walks through the whole part, and how encoders work. You get two pulses. You have to have two pins, and you get an A and a B, and you tell the direction by whether the pulse is high, the second pulse is higher, is high or low. And of course, you need an interrupt pin to get these pulses, because they're happening every, I forget, 4 or 6 times every time I think it's, I can't remember how many times for each rotation of the motor, but it's quite a few anyhow. So she talks about that. What else does she talk about? Like I say, it's Arduino code, so she's doing Arduino code on here. And but yeah, there's the wiring. Like you say, I'll show you my wiring. It looks just as bad as that. This one here, she's using a different motor driver. Hers uses 2 IN pins, and mine just uses a PWM pin and a direction pin. So I had to wire it up and change up the code just a little bit on it, but that wasn't a big deal. So, but all her PID stuff and everything was very useful. She talks about how, you call it a plant and everything, and all your PID calculations. Thank gosh, she gives you one line calculations for the P and the I and the D, and so that's helpful on that. So, and talking about how you feed back into it, and that controls all your sensors and everything. So, and she also graphs, showing how you graph, and by changing the P and I and the D, whether you can, I think the last one was a little bit. Yeah, I'm talking about like the overshoot there that goes over and then comes back. And she does a really good job of covering what the P and the I and the D do for your motor. So that was very interesting. But that's enough of that. So anyhow, I guess best thing to do is get to my code, and so this is just copy and pasting her code and changing it up for my motor driver, but we'll slip through it. So you're defining some pins, and there's volatile. You'll need that for your ISR, your interrupt service routine, and everything. And these are for the PID calculations. Setting up serial pin modes you have to do, and that we're attaching our interrupt. So it's a pin interrupt, so that's how you do it, and it's on the rising of the pin. Like I said, then you go through the loop, and you go and she set up that target where you just go to, that you're trying to get to a position 1200 pulses in, and I possibly will show that one. I'm going to probably start with this one here, and this one here just creates a sine wave, position sine wave between 250 and minus 250, and it shows how that's what the target is, and you can it'll graph how use your serial plotter to show you, how it follows the plot. And this is your K, D, I mean P, D, and I that you are doing. Like I said, the I part is she uses a lot less of it than the other two. The the K is the P is the one that she uses a lot. So, and this is just a math to do what you're doing. I think there's a different way of doing this, but she uses this atomic block on the Arduino to uh, block when you're trying to get uh, your position data from the uh, ISR. I'm not sure that even needs to be there, but she shows it. And this is where you're actually, like I say, it's just one line. This is the D, and this is the I, and this is just a P here. So E is P, I guess. Yeah, P, D, and I. Yeah. And then you just add those all together to get your you're multiplying them by your constants that you picked out up here, these constants. So luckily, and she explained it real well, and it's a one line for each one, so that was nice to do that. And then she's setting your power to your PWM to your getting your pulses, and setting the direction, so whether it's plus or minus. And yeah, here I'm just setting the my motor driver. I'm setting the direction in the power, which is the PWM. She had, like I say, she had this lot of other things in 1 and 2 PWM pins and all that. And then she's just printing the target and the position and to the serial monitor, to the serial monitor. And so it was really short to get my direction and things. So we're just digital writing the direction to the motor driver and analog writing the PWM to the motor driver. So pins, that was easy. Then this is your ISR, and basically you're getting encoder A, you're getting an interrupt on that, and then when you get interrupt A, you're reading B, and if B is high, then you're adding a pulse, and if B is low, that means it's going counterclockwise, and you're subtracting a pulse position. So that's what you got going on there. So let's just get it running. Actually, this code's already on the Raspberry on the Arduino. So all I gotta do is actually plug it in. Let me get my phone up here while I do this. So we're just running back and forth. And if we look at the serial plotter, so the blue is what we're trying to do. The blue is just a sine wave, and the orange is where we're at on it. So an interesting thing is that when it gets near the end, this is reading and sending out this as fast as it can in the loop. It's no delays at all. So just as soon as it does the loop, it does it again. So I just want you to show you that they have indication of which one of the, let's see if I can get this. And not really. That's not going to be very clear. Shoot. Let me turn my light off, see if that helps. So the two red lights up in the top, you can see that when it gets ready to switch, that actually both of them are on. They're alternating which one, whether it's going counterclockwise or clockwise. But the thing is what it's doing is as you overshoot what you're trying to get, then you actually go the opposite way, and it creates like a braking effect on the motor, so that you're actually, sometimes you're going back and forth several times to do that, so that the PID is trying to keep it on that line and best it can. And it just doing its job. And anyhow, that's as far as I've gotten so far. So I got a long way to go before I have a robot platform, but I got all the parts. I don't know about all this wiring. I don't know. I might end up with just like a basic robot and just controlling it and not worrying about the encoders. I've also been thinking about, like I said, this is on Arduino. I definitely want to probably try porting it over to the Raspberry Pi Pico. The motor driver is good for, the 3.3 volt signals as well. So that shouldn't be a problem. But just figured, one thing is that I've read other places that some speed tests have shown that C++ is up to 20 times faster on this than MicroPython. So you're going to get probably less resolution. I'm hoping that encoders, because I don't know if you can see it, but on the back of here, there's like I'll show you the one that's still. It's got like a little magnetic disc that you read, and that spins at motor speed. So if your motor's going 1,000 RPMs, you're getting several thousand interrupts. And I don't know, with MicroPython, I think that the interrupts are probably low level, so they're probably not worried about, I don't think I'll lose them with just one motor. But if you wanted to go with 2 motors or more motors, I think it might be a problem. So anyhow, I'm going to try. I'll probably upload this video, but I probably will wait until I get the MicroPython version of it as well before I release them both at the same time, so I won't make you wait. Anyhow, that's all I got for today. Thanks for watching.